Who do we have?
Recording in progress.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness. We have
Lara.
Lara.
Marlene.
Really? Right.
Morning.
Right.
I seem to have a bit
Seem to
of
have a bit of
feedback. I'm not sure why that
sure
is.
why that is.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
You are still awake. Well done for you. What time is it with you, Simona?
Midnight. Oh,
It's
hey everyone.
midnight. Well, you are a superstar. Thank you for joining us. It's just lovely. Deanna, hello. Good to meet you. I said hello to Marlene. Yes, I did. Kerry, hello to you. Daryl, good to see you. And your friends in the background there. Are they your friends? Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Thank you.
Amanda, good to see you here, although I can't see you. Leo and Carissa, hello to you. We have about 26 people registered, but you know what happens every time? People fall off the other end for whatever reasons. And that is always about priorities, is it not? What you choose to participate in. And I think let's kick it off by saying you're here live, and that's what's important. And what I'd like you to do is just pop in the chat where you're from and are you in business or not? Yes or no is fine. We don't need anything elaborate, but just so everyone gets a feel for who's here. Let's see the chat, see who's the action takers. Lara looks like she's right into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Bunbury, 2 hours south. Yes, so you're 2 hours behind me. Adelaide. Adelaide is in the house. My goodness me, that's great. We have Kerry from Adelaide as well, which is pretty exciting. Who else do we have? Don't be shy, folks. Put where you are from. That's in France. There you go. That's what you call dedication. Marlene, Painesville in Victoria, beautiful part of the world down there. Adelaide again. That's fabulous. Okay. Well, Sunshine Coast, yes. And I'm in Gympie in Queensland, which is inland from Noosa, if you're not sure of your geography, because and if you're certainly on the other side of the globe, I understand that part. Let's get going. And like I'm saying, today is going to be about asking questions, about having clarity. Some of what I'm going to show you today is about mindset, and some of it is about choosing to market organically. And certainly there is an option to have paid ads. And in 2017, I've spent 50,000 on Facebook ads, $50,000, just to clarify what I was saying. And I had 5 beautiful ads running, getting lots of leads. It was fantastic. I loved it. And I woke up one morning and Facebook had shut all my ads down.
Wow.
And it was a great lesson. Now, for whatever reason, I still am not clear to this day exactly what that reason was, because Facebook are quite fickle, as most people know here. If you don't know that and you're here, then you soon will get to know that they're very fickle, and they're more fickle now than back then
Wow.
because of AI. AI is rampant in Facebook. Now, my point about saying that so early in the piece is that that really triggered me off to be thinking, well, firstly, I was like, what's the lesson? Well, smarty pants, you only had that line of advertising. And it really made me look at the value of organic marketing and what that meant. And it also taught me the value of a very good mindset, because I could have gone in the corner and cried. Let's face it, you
Yeah,
want to.
gosh. Yeah.
So that has really led me on this journey. So some of what I present today, that's why I like the mix, because if you have a really good positive mindset, then you will be able to sustain any trips down the slippery slope, and you'll be able to celebrate your wins in a better manner. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Just put in the chat before we absolutely get on to my first slide. What excites you about today? Just being here,
Oh.
alive, being awake at midnight. What is it? Just one word's fine. Just so people get a feel for you. Being alive. Yes, exactly. There's value in that. Oh, Amanda, good to see you in the flesh. I like my persistence. It could be a
Yeah.
reflection, could be a reflection. Anyone else got any other comments? You're not sure why you got up today and put your feet on the floor? Well, after the session today, you'll get a pretty good idea and you'll have a smattering of different things that you can do and authenticity, optimistic, epiphany. And that's a couple of big words there. Tarot, being alive. Yeah, lovely. Uh, Clearly in a 2-hour workshop, I don't get to really go into the depth of things in my program. Certainly that's what you do. Let's get cracking. And who will I ask? Lara, can you see my screen? Lovely, thank you. Just keep me on track there, Lara. So that's why we're here. We're here about mindset. We're wanting to attract clients and we're also wanting to elevate our business. Everyone here, I'm sure, would like that, especially as we move from a number 9 year, numerologically speaking, to a number 1 year. A lot more energy about next year. This year was the year of the wood snake. A lot more solid kind of energy. Nonetheless, a number 9, about shedding your skin, about decluttering. Next year, as we move in there, it's the fire horse. So be prepared to have the blowtorch to the bottom of your feet. Else you're going to need it. Some things about me, because a lot of you here don't know who I am. I've done a few laps in decades, and breath. Glad you like that, Laura. Started life as a nurse. Always passionate about there must be more to life than this. Hence, the big dive into personal development. Came from New Zealand to Australia. And after leaving school at 15, I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that I would then go on to study to be a psychotherapist. I was a somatic psychotherapist um, and Gestalt therapist in Melbourne, Australia for 16 years. So there's been quite a lot of transitions in my life. These days, I'm a confidence coach. And you can read all this. You're going to get the recording. You don't need me to go through all this. But my life is flourishing. I'm fortunate. I have a really good cheer squad around me, and I want the same for you. I have got people that have got great results as a result of being involved in my cheer squads for the last several years. Just a couple of hints how to get the most out of today. Keep your cameras on, engage,
Yeah.
and most of all, have a bit of a laugh, have a giggle at yourself.
Yes.
Comments at the self-talk. What's ticking on in here? Who do you think you are that you can do that? Oh, you're just kidding yourself. Who knows those? Who knows those comments, that try and take us down.
Yep.
And be sure to ask questions, take some notes. That's important as well.
Mm.
So let's think about this. Let's think about mindset and how being positive and the power of that. It's really a superpower. Think about that. It's quite a superpower.
Mm.
And you have to get your head straight. Now, if you wake up, put your feet on the floor and your head's not straight, you're starting your day, then what you need to do is the very first thing before you do anything else is do whatever it takes to get your head straight. Now, that might be meditation. It might be sitting in silence. For me, I go outside and look for the sun. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I look for the sun and I sit quietly. Sometimes it's with a coffee and sometimes it's not. But get used to setting yourself up for a big day of success, productivity, where you want to have the intention of finishing the day feeling good. I certainly set myself up. I have very strong intentionality for every day, and I suggest you can do the same. And be prepared to stay the course. Now, what I mean by that is, and we've heard this before, I'm sure some of you here have, I have been working with people and they've said, oh, I'm just going to give this up. I'm like, my goodness, let's write down 10 reasons why you're so close.
Mhm.
I've had people that have transitioned. I've got Michelle, who I worked with for a long time, transitioned from a job to her own business. And after 1 year, matched her income from her job with her business. Now she's, I think, second, third year on, and she's more than into the six figure, if not multiple six-figure income. And now that's this, if that's what you're looking for, this is what's required when you stay the course. And there's always security in jobs, isn't there? Oh, I better stay there. How many people here, not that I can see all your hands, but how many people here know people that stay in the job because they've got another 9 months and they want to get their long service, or they've got another 3 months, and in the meantime, they're dying inside. And people come into my coaching groups saying, I'm just so done, I've got to do something different. And they want to start again, and the energy is not there. Sharon, for example, nurse for 47 years now, a world-renowned laughter therapist, laughter yoga, transitioned beautifully into that. And, it's important to be consistent in everything that you do. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to do a lot. You just need to be strategic and consistent. And don't be one of these people that pick up your business for 3 days a week and drop it and pick it up and drop it, because your audience will notice that. And know what your intention is. And I've already talked about this. When you put your feet on the ground, what's your intention for the day? And sometimes, to be honest, you have to dig deep. That's what's required being an entrepreneur. We have to dig deep. Some days when the slippery slope, we're sick of going downhill, those are the days we need to dig deep. And think about this next one here. Talk is cheap, isn't it? How many people know this one? You have to say what you will do and do what you say. And I see a lot of people over-promising, under-delivering. I gave that up because I was so disappointed. And personally, many years ago, I spent 20,000 US dollars on a coaching program for 1 year. And at that time, it was a lot of money. Well, it's still a lot of money, let's face it. But I left after about 8 to 9 months because I got bored. I was like, oh my gosh, this wasn't my expectation. The person didn't actually deliver what they said they would deliver. So this is really important. Make sure your agreements are there. I'm a big one on agreements. Let me just stop sharing for a sec. Who here knows what agreements are? Do you want me to say more? Perhaps I will. Um, you know, we have agreements. We sign agreements, work agreements. We've got policies and procedures. We've got all these things when we're in the workforce, and we have to agree to a particular etiquette, how we work, when we turn up at work, when we leave work, our participation. But I think we need to extend that wider. What's our agreements with ourselves, firstly? And what's our agreements with the people that we love? With our partners? And if you've ever been married, we go through this whole vow thing, and then within, you know, once the honeymoon phase is over, some of that just goes straight out the door. We forget why we're here. And I think this happens in business as well. And I have agreements with my friends. I had a friend, for example, who was always late. I'm like, I don't get it. Why are you always late? If we're going to meet at 12:30, how come you get here at 10 to 1? Well, I just, that's who I am. I said, well, I don't really feel very respected. Was that a hard conversation? You betcha it was. But I think we have to practice those hard conversations in life and bring them into our business with our clients. We agree to this and that. I agree to do this. You agree to do that. And friendships are important because the people we surround ourselves with are the people that are influencing us. Is this true? Is this your experience? So think about agreements, where you want to put them in your life. It may be you need agreements with your children, because what I notice is that lots of people my age and younger are looking after their grandchildren full time. Oh, I was so looking forward to these years of doing things that I wanted to do, but then they capitulate. I heard a lovely story a couple of months ago. I must share it with you. A friend showed me this article about this lady. I think she was in Melbourne, in Australia, obviously, for those listening to the recording overseas. And her daughter had one child, and she used to look after it one day a week, and then her daughter had a second child. She went round to visit her mum, and she said, "Oh, mum, I'm going back to work on Monday. Would you be able to have little whatever the person's name?" So that meant two little children. And her mother said, "Just a minute." She got the phone out, got the calculator, said, "What's the hourly rate now?" And worked it out how much her daughter would need to pay her. Her daughter was absolutely horrified. But you think about 1 or 2 days a week from when they're very little, just say, for argument's sake, 1 year old, and you do that for 5 years. Think about the hours. Think about that. So I thought it was it was a bit of a fun example. Who knows people that are doing that or are doing it yourself? You might be doing that, giving up your time for your grandchildren, and this is a time, when we get past 34, 35, don't know why I picked 34 incidentally, 35, 40, 50, that's when we really want to be showing the world who we are and who we're becoming. All making sense so far? Okay. The last one, I'm going to bring up the slide again because I think it's super important. Stop comparing yourself to others. They're doing better than me. Oh, look, I could never do that. Watch that self-talk. That self-talk will take you out. And comparison really, what it creates is a greater than and less than mentality. Soon as you compare yourself to them, what they're doing better, you immediately put them here and you become the lesser person, if you like. So watch that. It's really important. There's some things for you to think about here. And these really, you can just do yes or no questions. Hope you've all got a notebook. Do you believe in yourself? Yes or no? Write it down. Do you believe you are worth it? Yes or no? Do you believe in your own success? Do you actually believe in your own success? Or are you one of those people that you're more excited about other people's success? You would much prefer to cheer them on rather than yourself. And do you have a cheer squad? Now, that cheer squad can look like anything. It can look like your family. It can look like your circle of influence. What I've found in the cheer squads that I've created for many years now is that people truly flourish in cheer squads. They do a lot better. They stretch more. And let's face it, if you don't feel you stretch, maybe you're not growing. Because the key here is growth, learning, growth, learning. And everything we learn, be it vertical or otherwise, stretches us. And we don't like it. But I've had people come into the cheer squad just so tentative, scared to even speak on the coaching calls. And then one day they come alive. Oh my gosh. And after several months, they're doing presentations showing who they're becoming. It's so exciting. And I believe this is the power of the cheer squad. This is the support. And support's important, but what actually I notice that's more important is the confidence level goes up. A lot of people come into my groups where they have a lot of bravado. Yeah, I've got this, rah, rah, rah. And inside they're absolutely packing it. Oh, I can never do this. And one of the things that I notice in my coaching groups is that the inner confidence and the outer confidence start to come together. And at a certain period, they realize, oh my gosh, I'm way more confident than I ever was. So these are all things to think about. Any questions? How are we all going? No one's nodded off. That's good. That's lovely. Let's go back to this. Okay. Going to change gears a little bit now. We've been working on our mindset, just where we're at. I hope that by now you've written down, actually just write down one word about your mindset. Because when you look at your notes later, if you're a note taker, if you're not, if you're just someone that's sitting there listening, and that's the best way you learn, that's perfectly fine. Just write down one word about how you think your mindset is in this moment. Excuse me. And then we're going to shift gears a little, because the other theme of today is organic marketing. And there's lots of misconceptions. It takes a long time, it's slow. And, a lot of people say to me, oh, I'm going to wait till I'm successful before I join you. Like, no, don't wait anymore. That's crazy. That people want to be the best before they show their face. No. If I remember my first Facebook Live, it was so funny. I was so excited. Because when I started online 9 years ago, I had no clue about Facebook. And I was so excited. I put my live up and there I was sideways. And, it gave lots of people a giggle, but it also was just part of me learning and growing. So don't wait till you're hugely successful. Now, this is another big one. I hear people saying I need to post every day on 5 platforms. There's a lot of talk out there at the moment about posting 8, 10 times a day. Oh my gosh. What actually happens with that is that we then spend all our time focusing on those posts rather than our business. We've got our head down. It's a bit like, and sorry, you can Google this after the session. A wombat in Australia digs a hole and it gets itself in there and it's pushing the dirt out, 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 and it's getting further in the hole, and all it can see is the hole and the dirt. And that's what happens when you spend a lot of time doing content. All you're doing is looking at the content rather than the difference you're wanting to make with your content. Very, very big line there between that. Especially, I notice this more when people are in direct sales or network marketing, where there's pressure. I'm saying pressure. Some people don't always feel it as pressure to do things in a particular way. And they say to me, just last week, someone said, I just don't know what to do, Mary. They want me to post 7 days a week and 5 times a day. I just can't keep up. And look, you're never going to keep up. Even Daryl there with his friends behind him helping him, it's hard to keep up. It's a big expectation. And she was saying what I'm doing is actually spending all my days thinking, oh, what am I going to post? And then putting it all together. Who knows this land? Like, oh, what am I going to post, And I don't think that's how it's meant to be. I think the idea is firstly to have fun, have a bit of a giggle about the day, about yourself, about anything. My dogs give me a bit of a giggle with how they go on with the ball, the possessed ball tricks. But you have to approach doing this, doing that equals productivity and good productivity rather than just head down the hole. You have to watch that. And certainly this is what I teach in my programs. Post 3 to 4 times a week and be deliberate, be intentional. And, recently I've had a bit of a wake-up call with that myself. My posting will certainly be way more deliberate, way more theme-based, because I've been asking people what I need to do better, and they've been telling me. And there's nothing like a little bit of feedback and research to put you back. I was going to say the straight and the narrow, but I don't think I'll ever be straight and the narrow. And I don't know about you, ladies and gents, but, so it's about quality, is it not? You want to be able to read a post. Is this worthwhile? Am I bringing value here? And honestly, the goal is always to connect with your audience, whoever is your niche. What I want you to do now is write down on your book, whatever, who is your niche? Who's your audience? Write it down right now. Who is your audience? Because you have to be clear about who you are talking to. What's that old story? Walk a mile in my moccasins, It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's still true today. You need to know who your audience are and what they're asking from you, what they're actually wanting, because there's quite often a mismatch. Sorry, I'm not good looking at the chat, Daryl. Now I've seen it. What if I'm not clear on that? I think write down who you don't want to serve, Daryl. Start with that. That's amazing. Just do one column, who I don't want to work with. Do you know who you don't want to work with, Daryl? He's thinking. Look at that. Lots of thought going on here. You're welcome to unmute if you like.
I was gonna say, I feel like I want to help everyone. I want to work with everyone, and yeah, so it's never clear.
No, and what do we know about wanting to help everyone? We end up helping no one. And you're a warm-hearted man, and I can see why you'd want to do that. But when we start thinking about business and strategy and entrepreneurial approach, you have to think, well, why did I get in business? And there's plenty on YouTube about that. Simon Sinek's the champion of what's your why. Don't go off doing it now, but he certainly, and I don't ever work with that. Well, I shouldn't say I don't ever, but you got to know why you got into business in the first place. Do you know that part, Daryl? Okay. So there's a bit of digging here required, but I think it's important to know why you got into business. Was it to make a difference? Was it you knew you had skills that you could share with other people? And, I think when you're an employee, you tend to just follow the crowd, and it's quite robotic, and you're doing what is required. What's that saying? People get paid just enough to keep their interest. And that's the state of the nation. Then if we start to cross that bridge to entrepreneurship, one of my podcasts coming up, the woman was saying to me, her name's Al, and it's not going to be out for a couple of months, but she said, I was an entrepreneur. I felt like I was born one. I was like, wow, that's quite remarkable, But at 23, I knew, yes, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And she's a very powerful, exciting woman that brings lots to the table because she chose that path. And I think most of her life has been spent as an entrepreneur, but that's not everyone's gig, is it? Sometimes it's just too damn scary to go out there. I know I digress, but I think all of these things are important because I imagine, Daryl, that if you're asking that question, others could be thinking about that as well. Don't think for a moment you're on your own with that. So I think the first thing I would do is, what gets me out of bed in the morning? Why do I put my feet on the ground? What is it? You have to know that part. And then you could do what am I good at? What can I share? That'd be interesting. We'll chat anyway, Daryl. I think there's more to be said about that, but it's exciting because I think when you don't know the answer to these questions, that's when you start your exploration. That's when the adventure begins. It's a great place to be. Any other questions? Have I missed anything else in the chat? I'm not very good at multitasking. Nope. Okay, good. Let's go back to my slide. You know, I've got here build your authority. And what I mean by that is write and post about what you know to be true for you, because that's also about being authentic. If you can bring those two together, especially now with AI, who looks at a post and go, oh, that's all AI. There's nothing real about that. And so the authentic people are going to start to stand out, and that's going to be more and more. When I say authentic, sure, use AI, but put your perspective in there. And someone said the other day, oh, it's just so boring looking at posts now, they're mostly AI. And I think, well, that's disappointing. But what's exciting about that is the true people, the authentic people, are going to stand out. You're going to be sitting above the fray. That's why it's important to think about, what are you good at? What can you share of interest to your market? Just write down one thing, what you're good at, before we move on. What are you good at? Anyone want to share what they're good at? Don't be shy. Nobody? Okay, Lara, good for you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think I'm good at supporting and leading others who are feeling a little bit lost when it comes to their business and receiving recognition for the hard work that they're doing and the skills that they have and the success that they're achieving. I think for some people, they're a little bit shy about putting their achievements forward and letting it be in the spotlight. And so I'm good at helping to invite them to come forward and consider that this is something that, yes, you are worthy. You can receive recognition for it. And it's not something you have to do on your own if it feels a little bit overwhelming. You can be there to hold your hand and help you go through the process together of what it is to apply for a business award and receive recognition for what you're doing.
That's lovely. And I'm looking behind you because that says a lot, doesn't it? So it sounds like you're in alignment with your business.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
say that? Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Marlene, you said, what did you say? I saw something come up.
Listening and supporting.
Yes. How does that impact your clients, Marlene?
Well, I just, that's a good one. I listen to what they have to say, and this also goes for people in what I do, and and just cheering them on, and being there for them.
What is it you do, Marlene?
Oh, now you've put me on the spot, Mary. Nutrimetics. I've got my own thing of Nutrimetics, which is a skincare.
There you go, a skincare specialist.
Yes,
So just imagine.
skincare. Yes.
So just imagine all the people. Oh, beg your pardon, I'm talking over you. I'm sorry.
No. Which I, as you know, I just love it.
That's right. And there's another component to what you're doing. You need to love it. You need to be passionate about it.
And that's a big important thing. Sorry, Mary.
No, I agree.
That is, that I believe you should always love what you do no matter what, because I personally didn't do that as a younger person. And I've always wanted, and I've always stressed to my children, I don't care what you do, as long as you love what you do.
Yes, well said. Here. Who agrees with Marlene? Yeah, absolutely. And that's really important. And if you don't love what you do, stop it. Get out right now. Bye. See ya. Change it. That's when you have to dig deep, you know. You have to really dig deep. And well, what the hell am I doing here? Solving problems, hopefully. So you do help people. You solve problems, Daryl, and you just hopefully you do. I think is the next part. Is that right? It's the confidence bit. We need to do a bit of work in our outer confidence. Is that right? Yeah. I love the way everyone is being so honest. It's just beautiful. It makes for a really good workshop when you have the components we've got here today. So thank you so much. Okay, let's go back to my slides here. Can you see this, Kerry? Can you see my cursor? Yep, awesome. Okay. So stay true to yourself in everything that you do. You know, it's like if you know, like Daryl, you solve problems. Lara's good at supporting, you know. Marlene's saying, gotta love what you do. If you know this about you, absolutely, absolutely just dive right into it because that'll be important. So here's a few guidelines for you to consider. Before we get there, I got ahead of myself, sorry. Here's something to think about. This has been my observation. I'm not saying it's categorically true. It's been my observation. And some people over the years have taken me to task for it. But something to think about. Are you hungry enough? Do you really want this? I've seen people come off this workshop and say, that was the biggest aha you could have ever thrown at me. I realize I actually don't want it enough. Because if you don't want it enough, you will not do what's required to get it. You got to have something to make you want it. In a way, you got to feel your pinch. Who's felt their pinch in life? Like, oh, that hurts, you know? And these are the times, in getting back to this growing and stretching, you know, you have to have some skin in the game. Recently, I just did a 6-hour boot camp with a couple of awesome presenters about having skin in the game. And I think it's really important. You have to have skin in the game, otherwise it'll be absolutely meaningless to you. So, are you hungry enough? Just write down yes or no, or you can say, I am hungry. It's your notes. It's something for you to reflect on later. Okay. Now we'll get on to some fundamentals. Now, this one here is the most underrated thing on social media. Maybe not so much with TikTok and Insta, but certainly LinkedIn and Facebook. That's my banner, incidentally, and it's the same on LinkedIn, the same on Facebook. Treat your banner like a blimmin' website. Stop being afraid to show who you are. Because when you think about it, 98% of people are scrolling on their phone. If you don't say what you do in your banner, they'll just keep going to the next person. It is so undervalued. You need to, you know, I've looked at a lot of your banners. I went, as I left you all messages yesterday. Some of them are really powerful. Some of them I haven't got a clue what you do. So, you know, do a little bit of a check with your banner, not now when you get off this call, and start to use it like a website. People spend thousands of dollars, thousands on a beautiful website. They still don't have any clients, but it's a lovely website, and then they don't know what the hell to do with it. But here you have a banner that's in front of your perceived audience. Why would you waste the real estate? And, you know, for goodness sake, put a profile photo up that even looks a bit like you. A couple of months ago, because I speak to people regularly, I have one-on-ones with people just to get to know who they are. The session's not about pitching, it's just, you know, hello, how are you? Let's talk about what we do. And I said, Is that really you, Paul? He just looked at me and I'm like, what? How old's that photo? Oh, about 25 years. I said, come on, man, get your act together. And, some people will perceive that as just straight out misleading. And it's probably nothing to do with that. It's just that Paul wanted to feel younger, and he thought if he looked at that photo every day, he'd feel younger. And, I'm a bit over 50, so I can relate to some of that. I'm sure some of you can here in the room. So, you know, there's lots, our phones have got really cool cameras. Just get someone to take you a few shots and use them. They don't have to be professional. You don't have to pay an arm and leg for this. Join groups that align with whom you're looking for to work with. Stop just fishing in the big sea. That's why when you get some clarity about who you want to work with, you know where to go fishing. If you fish in a lake or the river, you're not going to go to the sea with the same, and I'm not even a fisher person. I've never used that as an example before. That's funny. Fisher person, do you like that? But you have to, as far as I understand it, you have to have different things. I better get out of this in case someone on the call is someone who fishes a lot. Fishers, do you like that? But you really need to have the right gear for the right people. And so you need to be in the right groups that are aligned with you. Now, for goodness sake, if you go in a group and, they're just showing the food they had for lunch, dinner, and last night's breakfast, you like that, yesterday's breakfast, get out of there. That's not the group to be in if you're an entrepreneur in business. You want to be in groups that will let you engage, have conversation. My Facebook group, just over 1,000 people, it's a private group. Once a month, we allow people to pitch their business. And we've found that since we brought that rule in, if you like, don't like rules much, but it's guidelines, agreements, there you go. It's been much better because otherwise we're always saying to people, because people want to go in there and pitch every day. And I think that can be disrespectful. And it's not how we want to run things. So once a month, we put up a post to say, tell us what you do. And people love it. And they have an opportunity to show themselves. And that's what you want to do. So these are the groups that you want to be looking for. Groups that have respect for who you are and who you serve. And I haven't talked a lot about serving so far, but I think who you serve is really important. It's a little bit different than who's your audience. Think about that. Who do you serve? Is service something you even consider in your life? In a way, sometimes we get a bit confused with service and gratitude. We've got to be grateful. For some people, it's a dirty word, grateful. Rather than, I have a beautiful, beautiful hibiscus plant out my window. And when I went out this morning, there's 3 gorgeous yellow hibiscus looking at me, pleased as punch, That's what I've got gratitude for. I'm grateful I can be here today with kindred spirits like you. These are the sorts of things to be grateful for. And these are the things to then go on to more reflection about, I know, for example, Marlene supports an orphanage in India and quite often has promotions. And some months, if you buy this, a percentage will go to this orphanage. I think that's about service. That's testament. And Marlene's probably wishing she could dive into a hole. But, she would never tell you she does that. But it's important to know, and you can do that as well. And I think you have to think about what serves you best. These are fundamentals, but they're also reflection points. Because today, when this workshop finishes, is when you have the opportunity to implement everything you've learned. Doesn't actually happen right now. It's when everything finishes. When the lights are down and everyone's gone home, that's when the work begins. So don't kid yourself. It's not enough just to sit here and absorb it all. You have to go out, implement. When you implement, you integrate it becomes part of who you are. When it becomes part of who you are, that's when authenticity really comes together. And some people will look at this or come to this workshop and say, oh, I didn't really learn anything new. And then here's the kicker question. Well, you're doing all that. Some of it. So, it's firstly, learn what you need to do. Secondly, implement it. Thirdly, integrate it to who you are and who you're becoming. Then people will really get you. Any questions about this? I better have a drink. I've spoken a lot. Any questions at all? Lara.
Thank you so much as not having a question, but I would like to make a comment and just say thank you so much already, the value that I'm getting out of this organic workshop and the beautiful wisdom and clarity that you're sharing, Mary. Yeah, thank you. I've instantly realized when you mentioned that, you go and you have a look at the banners, the profile. It's the same on Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm locked out of Facebook, so my focus is LinkedIn. So I get the pain that you've had with Facebook, so I'm just focusing on LinkedIn. And because I'm B2B and I'm working with business owners, that's really the best platform for me to be on anyway. But it made me think, you know what, there's probably something I can do to improve my banner, because maybe it could be even more clear. So just whilst you've been talking in this moment, I quickly jumped into my profile LinkedIn.
Oh, you didn't leave the workshop. No, just kidding.
No. I've been right here the whole time listening. And so I just quickly jumped in and I took a screenshot of it. And you're right, I work with AI, and I think AI is an amazing tool that can really support and help us with getting clarity around a business, what we can do. I popped that up as an upload because I pay for my ChatGPT. Quickly asked it for clarity. Is there anything that can be improved to help, my ideal clients know that this is who I am and this is how I can serve them? And it gave me, 4 options for how it could be improved. Just like that, in the time that, that you've been talking to us and I've been listening to you. And I'm just blown away thinking, oh my gosh, like this is brilliant. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm already we haven't even finished the workshop and I'm already getting value out of it. So love it,
And
love it, love
already actioning it. Holy moly.
it. Yeah.
It's fabulous. And I think that's a beautiful use of AI, incidentally, where you're saying, is this enough? Can I do more? And they come back. And I think the other thing is be prepared to be discerning about AI. Don't take it as gospel. Lara will go now and look at it and mull over what they're saying and decide for herself. And I know Lara from a networking group, just so you know, I'm not speaking to a stranger. I think discernment is and needs to be your superpower with AI. And
Definitely.
yes, I think there's a huge change, particularly with business owners online. Then the AI has the ability, certainly in my life and my business, we're getting way more done.
Yeah.
Way more done. And if you haven't met Steph, this is beautiful Steph, who's been working with me for 5 years. Some of you know her. And we are getting so much more done now because of getting AI to do some work for us and carry the load a little bit. And to use all of the content that falls out of my head. That's quite easily, I might say. But AI can help bring that all together.
Yeah.
So just be discerning. Any questions about that? No. Okay. I'm certainly not an expert in AI, but I think the changes that are happening, we are changing at at the most rapid pace that I've ever seen. And that as we move into the fire horse in 2026, you think it's rapid now. Wait till the new energy comes in. 17th of February, the Lunar New Year kicks in. Once again, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm just wanting to provoke you to think about some of these things. Really important. Let's go back to my slides. Here we go. Yes, I think I've covered that enough. I'll probably tap into that a little bit more. And I've Some of this I've already covered, but this is my banner on LinkedIn. Pretty well says what I do and who I am. I love LinkedIn for this. You can really show who you are. That the LinkedIn, look, I love LinkedIn. I think it's way better and superior to Facebook, how they help you, how they support you. But I also know a lot of people use Facebook. So today I try and mix them both up. But I think this is not my banner. This is under my banner. I showed you my banner before. So this needs to line up with what you've written on your banner. And like I say, you have to treat your banner like a website. Now, if you go into the mobile version, you can do it now if you like, and look at your profile. Have a look what 98% of the community are looking at. And are you okay with that? Can they see any of this? Is it high enough up when you look at your mobile version? So I tell you what, some of the mobile versions I look at, I wouldn't have a clue what people do. So when you need to be really mindful, and it takes a bit of playing around, even if you have the sizes right, it takes a bit of playing around to get it correct so that everything looks and is in alignment. And you have to have a planner. If you're not someone who plans, change that today. Get a plan. One of my clients showed me the other day a beautiful, oh, it might have been you, Kerry, a beautiful whiteboard. Yes, it was. And it's fantastic because Kerry can use this whiteboard, puts it up in her office, and she can see things. And I think you can buy smaller whiteboards these days. Look, you can do all this digitally, but how exciting to come into your office and have that looking at you, your plan. You know what direction you're going. You're going to walk towards that for yourself. And you have to have clarity. You have to know what you're doing. And I think planning is key. I personally, I go in every Sunday. It might be an hour, might be a bit less, and I look at my entire week. And I know exactly what I'm doing. Now, the first thing I schedule in, for those of you that don't have a planner, is time for me. That goes in first. If I'm going out to lunch with a friend, that goes in as well. And then everything else goes around that. For many years, that was never the case. All my work stuff was consuming. Change that. Let's just say I learned the hard way. Burning myself out as a psychotherapist for 16 years. That was probably one of my best learnings. I'm not going to say biggest, but best. Because we have learnings, you know. We've all fallen over and skinned our knee or our chin or our nose. So planning is integral to you as an entrepreneur, and you must know what you're doing and when you're doing it. You know, who sat there on a Wednesday morning or a Tuesday morning like, I don't know what to post today? Who does that? You know, I think when you feel that creativity, that's the time to produce your posts. And it might be you produce 3 or 4, but that's the time to milk it. You're certainly not going to produce anything if you're in the doom and gloom. You're never going to, you know, produce anything. And so when you have that activation, let's call it activation of, oh, you've got this great idea. Actually, just before the workshop today, I had 2 great ideas because I have a book here, a daily running sheet, actually, is what I call it. And I wrote it down. I wrote the 2 ideas down because otherwise they're just. So, and there's lots of things. You can get a dictator on your phone. You can get notes on your phone. You don't need to do the writing. It could well be my age, but the other thing is I rather like using pens because it engages, you know, just to show and demonstrate how I like using pens. These are all fountain pens and they're all colorful because it helps engage my brain in a more creative way. And that's actually nothing I came up with, it's a fact. Whereas typing on the keyboard the neuroconnectivity is not nearly the same and as powerful. And if I'm writing articles, for example, I quite often just get my pen and start writing. I don't always go to the keyboard. I know I digress a bit, but I think these are all hints for you to use and implement when you're thinking about posts. And if you're having one of those dreary days, I don't have them, well, almost never these days, but I've had them in the past. It's not a good time to write your posts. Go out and have a coffee, chat to a friend. Um, I think I'm making myself clear, making sense. Yeah. Here's something interesting I want to share with you. Some of you might know it, but I think it's a very interesting statistic. 1% of the people on social media are writing the most content. 1%. Think about this. 9% engage occasionally, and 90% are just voyeurs. They're just watching it all go by. Now, wouldn't you want to be in that 1%, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you what, I want to be. That absolutely just blew me away when I saw that. And statistics, you can do anything with statistics, can't you? But even if that's partially true, you want to be in that lower percentage making a difference. Who here wants to make a difference? Yeah, absolutely. So think about this. And then let's stretch it a little bit more. What if you're writing what your audience wants to hear? Holy moly, that gives you more power. See, it's not enough just to do it. And I've been guilty of that over the years. Let's just get that post up. No, don't put it up. Like I say, I've had a bit of a wake-up call. I've been doing lots of research recently. And people want to know from you. People are starving. I had that picture of the bread just then when I said that. But people are starving for connection and engagement. One of the things that I'm implementing in 2026 in my coaching programs is in-house retreats, because I ran a couple of one-offs this year with great success. And people said, oh, I so loved getting to talk to people and sitting on the couch with a cup of tea and just talking. And I had people from the UK come to these events. They get on the plane for 5 days and 5 or 6 days, and then they go back to the UK. And they talk about the richness that they experienced. And so next year, I've deliberately implemented that in one of my coaching programs. And I think it's fabulous. People are already excited about it. Yes, Lara?
Could you just explain what you mean a little bit? I haven't heard the term before, in-house retreat. What is that?
Well, it means that everyone gets together face to face. So it's kind of an in-house event. It's
Okay.
also a bit exclusive, I suppose. But I didn't want to just say retreat, because retreat sometimes means meditation, yoga, and all that kind of thing. I just thought it's a place to retreat to for the weekend
Okay.
and just to focus on your business and connection and learning from other people. I mean, even if you look at the group we've got here today, look at all the knowledge that's here.
Mm.
Wow. And that the risk of still going on about the chair squads. This is the value of chair squads.
Mm.
This is where the juicy stuff is, when people start to share different experiences. There's so much to be learned in groups.
Mm.
But think about that. Do you want to be in the 1%? I do, and I want you to too, because I have people going back to Michelle. She's a graphic designer in her own business now, a very powerful woman with a powerful business. She would be in that 1%. She writes some really good content. And when she started with me, she was in her own business, pretty bored and felt like she wasn't paid enough and not respected. And now she's kicking goals. And that's the difference that you can have when you start to do what makes your heart sing. Everything starts to line up. Just write down right now what makes your heart sing. One word on that book or paper, whatever you got in front of you, or you're typing, type it in. You don't need to share it in the chat, but if you want to, fun. Yeah, I like that. Positioning is paramount to success. Deanna, absolutely. I agree with you. And I'm sorry, I'm only just looking at this. Yeah, that's yes, you can ask AI to do your bio as well. We can't see you, Leo and Krista. But great, yes, agreed. That's absolutely. And Lara just really stepped us off on that and demonstrated how easy that was. But you can do that with your bio, but I think you have to write it first. I never just ask AI, hey, dish me up a bio, because I want it to be authentically mine. So good point. Um, Oh, yes, you have a whiteboard. Yeah, cool. That's great. Fun, recognition. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Family. Yes. Your heart is there. Family, recognition. You have to do what makes your heart sing. Otherwise, you don't last long. And I haven't done this statistic recently, but the startups are phenomenal. And at the end of the year, most of those startups have gone. I did listen to a podcast beginning of this week actually, and there's a phenomenal amount of people starting up podcasts, thousands upon thousands every week starting podcasts, and half of them don't stay the course. They were saying if you, and I've got a podcast, I think episode 49 or 48 just went out. And they say if you get past the 2 year mark, you're more likely to stay in there. But the drop off is like this. These are two podcasting experts speaking. I was like, wow. I knew that it was becoming the flavor of the month, a bit like YouTube, actually. But I didn't realize of the drop-off rate, and it's not something I've gone and looked at statistics, but these guys know what they're talking about, and they're saying it's phenomenal. And people, every time we have those kind of um, interruptions, let's call it, not catastrophes, let's call it interruptions in our lives, we learn so much. Who's had interruptions, catastrophes? Yeah, I've had a few. Derailed me completely. Wanted to stay on the floor and cry and someone come and save me, but they never did. Have you noticed that? Nobody comes to save us. I can tell you that. The last thing on that slide was share other people's posts and comment. You must like and love. Yeah, exactly, Lara. If you see a post and this person's put everything into it, sharing their knowledge or their wisdom, and you like it, tell them that you like it. It's respectful. And some people say, oh, it's only social media. Well, you can take that to any level that you like or any depth that you like. But if you write a post, who here likes someone to comment on their post? Yeah. It's part of this thing of connection. Like I was saying before, people are starving for it. And if you can be that person to make a difference, I might just say, oh, I love the photo. Some of the graphics in AI just make me giggle so much. Just be part of the 9%. Yeah, that's right, Lara. But some of the graphics that I see, excuse me, just make me giggle so much. Anyone seen any cool graphics they want to share lately? Yeah. Did you want to share, Lara? No, cool. Okay. Claudia, good to see you. That's awesome to have you. Right. Claudia, there will be a recording and you'll be able to pick up. Now, the thing about this is, especially in, what should I say, platforms like LinkedIn, this is particularly liked. And what you've got to consider, and while I think about it, hashtags, Facebook were I think it might have been Instagram that started hashtags, but they used to have them because they would help with the algorithms. I heard this on a Facebook expert workshop earlier this week. Made my eyes run getting up 4 a.m. for that, or 5 a.m., whatever it was. But Well worth it, because now we've got AI, we don't necessarily need the hashtags to the same degree, because they were set up to get the algorithms going so that more people would see your post. You certainly can still use them. And I see an overuse of hashtags. Who's seen that? You know, some people put 20, 30. Oh my gosh, I don't believe it's worth it. And now where AI is absolutely everywhere, you certainly don't need them. I might do one or two, but I still see people using them excessively. So once again, discernment. This is the power. This is superpower here. And comments are powerful. As I've said, it's a worthy thing to do. And like or love. If you're going to look at something and you take more than 3 seconds on it, at least like or love it. Do yourself a favor. So just moving on from that same theme, be sure to comment. Especially when someone comments on your post, go back. This is where business can begin. It begins publicly, ends privately, doesn't it? Think about that. Begins publicly, ends privately. There's always a pathway. Certainly, this is what I teach in my coaching. What's your pathway? What do you do to take people to there? You've got to know that. And this highlight, it's simply putting the at here in front of the person's name. And especially good in LinkedIn, that's pretty easy to use. Facebook, you've got to start typing the person's name. Now, when that's highlighted, they get a notification. And you want them to see that you've put a comment on their post. You want to know when people, we've already said this today, you want to know when people are commenting and paying attention to what you are writing. So it works back and forth. There's give and take here. Get some testimonials into your post. No, we are always asking for testimonials. The last boot camp, we asked for testimonials. I think we got 3 or 4. And I've forgotten how many people were there, 27, 30 people. And not everyone's willing to do testimonials, but those that are willing will give you one. Don't be shy. Always ask for them. And ask people for reviews. People on Facebook, you can ask for reviews now. Let me just stop sharing. I think this is an important point. On Facebook, you can ask for reviews, and you have absolutely no control over that review. When it goes up, it's up. Now, if someone has a bad experience and they decide to pay out, give you a pretty lousy review, as some people have. Some of my clients have had this. You know, Mary, I was saying I couldn't deliver at this time, and I asked for an extension, and the people still write a crappy review. What can I do? Well, at Facebook, not much. You can ask more people for good reviews, and then that not so good will drop down because you can't remove it. This is the beauty of LinkedIn. If Daryl writes me a review, just picked on you, Daryl, because you're in front of me there, and what happens is I get a notification of my notifications to say Daryl's written a recommendation. I go, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Daryl. Then I get a chance to look at it and read it. And if I think Daryl's, done a good job, not that you're going to say, hey, Daryl, can you fix this? But no one can write negative things there. You push the button and then it goes to the bottom of your profile. Who here's got LinkedIn recommendations? Yes, it's a valuable thing. And once again, do not be afraid to ask people. It's all part of doing business in a strategic way. I like recommendations. I've only got 20, 30, I think close to 30, but it doesn't matter. You just got to start. If you're a LinkedIn person, don't be afraid to ask people, and knowing that you have the power to push that button. The other policy I have, do you like that policy? Where did I pull that from? The other belief I have is if people want to connect with me and they don't have a profile photo or they've got a locked profile, I don't connect with them. I can't see what value there's going to be between us. It's certainly going to be out of whack, isn't it? And I think that's important, that it's give and take. And if you can see people's content, because that's what we want to see, don't we? We want to enjoy people's content and learn from them. So if you've got a locked profile, there may well be a good reason, but what you're doing is locking me out as well. And if you want to connect with me, it's kind of counterproductive. Any questions about this? I've said a lot of things, testimonials, referrals, recommendations. Yes, Lara, you're so good. Thank you for leading.
Sorry. It's just a comment, really, rather than a question. I just wanted to say that, yeah, I agree. And discernment is the key. And the other thing I've noticed as well, because I've had to be more active on LinkedIn for the last year since I've been locked out of Facebook, but it's been a good thing, so I'm really grateful. Silver lining and all of that. So the thing I've realized, and you're right, absolutely, Mary, discernment will allow us to know who's the people who are best for us to connect with. And if you can see on their profile, perhaps they're new and, they don't have a photo yet, they don't really have a lot of information, you might have a look at their about, and you can see it's quite scarce. It might be an opportunity to give them a bit of feedback. I don't know if they want it, but you could say, hey, I noticed that your profile looks new. Would you like any support with that? And if they don't respond or they're just trying to sell you something, then I just know that, okay, well, that's not a connection worth having, right?
Well, it's not a connection. It's not an engagement, is it?
It's not engagement, no.
Is it two ships in the night,
Yeah, exactly. But for people who have got a really nice, like yours, Mary, you've got a really nice profile. The about us is clear. You've got a couple of recommendations on there. I can see people have worked with you. That just straight away, it calms my nervous system, right? That's discernment. I feel when our nervous system gets calm and we can see and there's clarity, it's easy for us to want to then have a connection or at least start a conversation, because there could be something more there.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's beautiful differentiation in that if people do want to connect and they're genuine, then they will show you hopefully who they are. Thank you. Any other questions before I move on? Honestly, if there is any questions, be sure to ask them, because if you've got the question, someone else is probably thinking it. Okay.
Sorry, Mary, I've got a question, Deanna.
Yes, go ahead.
Mary, it keeps popping up, verify your profile. Would you recommend that? I don't really like giving away my personal details.
Say that again. I didn't get the first bit you said, Deanna.
The verification of your profile. It's asking us to verify our profiles now and give data.
I think it's a good idea.
You do?
Yes, I do. I'll tell you why. And for the life of me, I can't verify my LinkedIn profile. I don't know why, but it won't read my passport. It's a New Zealand passport. That could be the problem. And I live in Australia, but LinkedIn still can't. I've tried about 5 times, and I can't verify. But if you look at something like Facebook, if you're verified, at least if it goes to custard, and I'll give you an example, you can contact Facebook by email. That's the benefit. I think it's about $19 a month to be verified. Thanks, Steph. She's saying yes. In Facebook. For LinkedIn, it's nothing. You've just got to go through the process, show who you are, like a passport. And it's relatively new in LinkedIn, and so they're still jumping through hoops to make it best. But I'll give you, I said I'd give you an example. About actually it might even be longer, 3 months ago, my profile on Facebook got hacked, and I had 5,000 more plus people connections, and I lost it overnight, and I wasn't verified. And one of my friends who knows about these things said, I can't believe you weren't verified. But it's one of those things. There's a learning. I lost all of that connection. I didn't lose my content because I'm smart. I keep my content elsewhere. It doesn't go down the drain at the same time. I actually think I learned that when I lost my ability to place ads a long time ago, when that happened with Facebook. If you've just joined me, you won't know that story. You might need to take a look at the recording. But if I'd been verified, Dan, what I could have done is written an email saying, I can't seem to get into my Facebook. Can you help me? And they would have. But as it happened, there wasn't a hope. What actually transpired from that was Facebook, after about 10 days, sent me an email saying, here's the numbers you can get back in. But what actually happened was the hackers set up, how's this, two-step verification. So even though I had the numbers from Facebook, I couldn't even get back in because I didn't know what the two-step verification was. It was so frustrating. And it it didn't take me long. I just like, okay, right, let's start from scratch. I'm not going to sit here crying over, you know, in my porridge, my head down. Let's just start a new profile. And that's what I did. That was a long-winded answer. Did that did that
No,
help?
that's great. Thank you. And can I just ask one more question, if that's okay?
Absolutely.
So what about Pro in LinkedIn? Because I've just done exactly what you've done and moved from Facebook into LinkedIn because obviously I'm B2B and it just makes sense. So would you recommend going into the Pro or the Premium? Is there
Premium.
benefits to that?
Yes, I would. You can use Sales Navigator, and the system in there is pretty good. And LinkedIn has all these tutorials that you can go in and learn how to do all these things. And the reason I like the Sales Navigator, which comes with the premium, is that you can go in there and filter and check out people that you want to connect with. When I say check out, let me be more specific. You can put in you want to work with women who are solicitors and live in Perth. You know what I mean? And then LinkedIn will give you all those people. And I love that. And you can put in various parameters, and then LinkedIn will show you. And they also show you, here's a list of new, what are these? I think they call them leads actually. So I might get an email on Monday saying, here's 20 more people that would be good leads for you. So LinkedIn,
Excellent.
and I think that's going to get better and better because the more they implement AI, that's going to be more finely tuned to what you're looking for in your audience. So I think use their research and development, if you like, to your betterment. I actually stopped premium for about 2 years, apart from the fact that the price went up a lot when I went back to join again. It was huge difference. Um, but I think it's beneficial. The other reason I think it's beneficial is that as a premium person on LinkedIn, you get to invite more connections every week. I think it's about 100. I could be wrong. I think in a free account on LinkedIn, it's about 100 a month, so ballpark figure 20 a week. Could be less actually. It might be less than that. Don't quote me. But I use up every connection I can every week. I mean, I'm up to 12,000 or I think I'm over 12,000. I'm not sure, just as we speak today, followers. But I have diligently worked at that. I have implemented different things to attract people to my profile. And I love LinkedIn for that because there's so many avenues to help you to do that. It's nearly a whole workshop. Is that helpful? Everyone else finding this helpful? Yeah. Um, so I think there is benefits. It's whether you want to spend the money to get the returns. But LinkedIn has paid me nicely over the years. Even when I didn't have that many followers, I attracted people. For example, one Sunday, I just got a notification, and I wasn't on a paid premium. Wasn't at the premium level. It's several years ago. I think I was only in LinkedIn maybe 6 months. And I'm like, oh, I was still learning LinkedIn. I thought, oh, what's this? And here was someone in Arizona saying, I love what you do. Can I work with you? Here's my phone number. And I was like, what? Wow. Because in those days I didn't put my phone number up. Oh, God forbid someone might ring me. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And someone said, because I've used this example, and well, yeah, but how much money did you get out of it? That was an interesting comment. And I was like, well, what's the point of the question? Well, like just a one-off. Well, yes, I worked with that woman for 4 years, and she took a year off and came back for another year. Do you think it was worth my while? An awesome businesswoman with multiple businesses, I might say. And you know what? I didn't know. I probably knew this much back then about how LinkedIn worked. So have a giggle at my expense because I think it's a good giggle because it's a great learning. You know, we think we got to get more and more fancy. Maybe we don't. We just have to connect more.
Mm.
I think that's actually the bottom line. We just have to connect more. We have to be prepared to engage. That's why I like these, you know. You can, I know some of you might be a bit kind of gun shy because you don't know me, but the connection is good. There's a real opportunity and invitation for enrichment. Um, I could talk about this all day. You can see I love it. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions before I move on? No? Cool. I love how you've got your cameras on. That's beautiful. Really helps. I think we've pretty well covered that one. I think getting back to building your authority on social media, I think it's really important. That's why you need to put photos of yourself up there. When I started 9 years ago online, that was the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted photos. You're kidding. Nobody's going to like my photo. You know, so we've had a huge growth, vertical learning curve, if you like. So if that's you, if I'm speaking to you today, goodness sake, get some photos of you up, be authentic, you know, build your authority, become a topic authority person. Get something that's of interest to people. Don't write, like I was saying before, don't join groups that people are just taking photos of their food. It's not, might be get you salivating, but that's about it. It's not going to nourish your soul, and we need to have our soul nourished. So you need to have a photo of you in one of your posts at least once a week. And actually, I should take that out because when I say stock photos, that means AI photos. But so I'm going to change that. I've just caught myself. That needs to be more specific. If you're going to use AI, balance it out between you and AI and play with it. Don't make it all about AI photos. That some of the photos are cool and it puts a smile on my face, but I don't think that's what we need to be doing every day. And I've said this before, you need to join groups that align with you, groups that are your audience, that speak the same language. Let's face it, there's nothing worse. You're not going to go out to dinner with people that you have no interest even talking to. You know, sometimes you're just not going to connect with people, and that's the way it is. That's what happens in life. So you don't do it here. Don't go and put yourself into groups that mean nothing to you. And the reason that we have thousands upon thousands of groups, and we do, that are available for you, it's because we're a very diverse community. You've just got to find your tribe. You've got to find who you align with. And that's important. And you have to engage, you know, do yourself a service here. Engage with people. I did address this a little bit before, but people do love it. I love it. You love it. You've said it on this workshop today that you love people to engage and comment. And this is the kicker here. Perhaps I should highlight that. In a genuine way. Be genuine or don't say anything. Here's another one. Topics of interest. I started talking about that before. Excuse me. I like to write about personal development. Been on that journey for years. So I know that's of interest to people. Like, my goodness, there's a plethora of information out there. There's that word discernment. There must be a bit of a theme here today, I think, about discernment. But you have to see what people are interested in. Like I was saying, do a bit of research. Check it out. and then provide that to your audience. Ask them what they want and give them what they want. That's important. And you want engagement. That's why we're there. Otherwise, why would we put these hours in, you know? This is our job, I believe. It sounds so simple, but there's more to it. We're actually here to engage, you know? How many kids do you see doing that? Or do you see them doing this? How many adults do you see doing that? This or that? You know? Engage, talk to people. How are you today? Oh, I'm sorry, Lara, I've just seen your hand.
Thank you. Sorry, it's just a quick question on the groups because I just jumped in to have a quick look at startups because I realized, oh, they're the sort of people that I would like to really support. So I put startups in the search bar for LinkedIn,
Yep.
and I've gone into the first group and it said invite, and then I've tapped on invite, and then it's given me the list of all the people in it, and there's 1.183 thousand members, over a million members in it. But sorry, I just need to clarify. Do I then like put a ticket next to all the people in that group to invite them to connect with me? Is that what it is, or how
No,
does it
I
work?
would offer content. So you want to be, if you go into a group, that's such a good question. Thank you. If you go into a group like that, then go in and add value and comment on the post that you like.
So how do
And
you do that? Sorry, because it only says invite, share, and then three dots of like manage group notifications or leave the group. So I'm not really sure. How do I?
maybe it's just the wrong group. You need to get into a
Ah,
group where you can, excuse me, where you can add comments, where
okay.
you can put posts up, where you can add value is what I said. And I think that's important. Show value to people and allow other people to show their value to you. You make comments. I don't think it's just a case of going in and adding them all as connections. I think once
Mm,
again, you want to be adding the correct connections or the people that you're aligned with. And for example, and please don't do it like Lara's clearly good at multitasking. I could never do that what you're doing at the moment and do this, but so that makes you a bit of a legend, I think. But the point is there's thousands of groups. Decide what
oh,
the best one is for
okay.
you.
Oh, wow. All right.
And
And
when
so
you
will it say,
LinkedIn will say there is, 13,000 you can, and then you've got to go, whoa, which one do I go in?
okay. So
Thank
will
you.
it say invite or join? Like, is that the difference I'm looking for? Am I looking for groups that just say join group? Because I'm
Well, I
guessing
would
this one that
just
says
I would
invite.
just join, and that invite button is you can invite us to that group as well.
Ah, but I can't see where it says to join.
Or maybe you're not able to, you have to be invited by someone for that group.
Ah, okay, I get it now. All right. Thank you.
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer. I apologize.
That's all right. I got it. I got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise I'll go back to my slide. No? Cool. Beautiful. Lovely. So engagement, I think we've covered that. I think I've done that one. Entertain. Mary, why would we entertain people? Well, there's different ways of connecting with people. We might entertain them with, oh, when I went to the park today, I took my two dogs, and one of my dogs doesn't like going in the water. It's a true story, by the way, but not today, yesterday. And it was stinking hot here yesterday. And one of them always goes in. My beautiful Ruby, who's a black standard poodle, she goes in, excuse me, and she comes out absolutely dripping, and she's just standing there, but he doesn't want to. My boy, my chocolate boy. But yesterday it was so hot. After a bit of sniffing around, he goes in, but the look on his face when he came out, he's like, oh, it's water. He just, you got to be a dog person to appreciate this story, by the way. But that's something funny that you could share with your audience that will allow other people to connect with you. Oh, I've got dogs. What did you say you had? And you can add value, and people say, oh, well, why would I do that? Well, why wouldn't you? They're probably like-minded people. One of the funniest things, and I did this on Facebook, I don't think I've done it on LinkedIn, is toilet roll holder, over or under. Well, I had 130 comments, but it showed people my page. That's the whole idea. It's not about, I mean, of course you'll be judged. Oh, did you see Mary put that, about the toilet roll? Holy manoli, we don't talk about that. Rubbish, we do. That's what life's about. And I got lots of engagement. Lots of people saw my page. Lots of people had invitation to then engage with me and see what else I'm doing. Inspire.
Again, sorry. So Facebook, that works really well, doesn't it, with all the sort of like gimmicky things and fun things and whatever. Because that's I've spent a bit of time on Facebook and realized I was on the wrong platform. And eventually I was using Optimizer and it told me my videos were too professional. And I was like, duh, I need to be on LinkedIn.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that is funny.
Yeah, right. So obviously I get that you do all of that on Facebook because that gets the engagement, but is that appropriate on LinkedIn? Where do you draw the line on LinkedIn when you're on a professional platform?
Well, I think LinkedIn has changed a lot, Tiana. It used to be a bit stiff upper lip, according to me, of course, but Lara's nodding her head and she's a LinkedIn person as well. Daryl's a LinkedIn person. I think you can have a bit of fun on LinkedIn as well. And I quite often put an entertaining post up and to see what happens, and more to poke the bear a bit, bit of fun. Let's just see what happens. And if I'm judged for it, so be it, but it's interesting. Since I've been paying more attention to a bit of relaxation time, downtime, and I've been writing about it, particularly on a Sunday in LinkedIn, the engagement on my Sunday posts have gone up. Now, I'm not writing about what I'm doing, what my coaching's doing, or anything. I'm writing about today's such a good day to pause. Where I live, the night sky's spectacular, for example. One of the things I love to do at night is go out with the dogs and sit back on this chair that goes back a little bit and look at the night sky because it's uninterrupted. And you'd be amazed, people love that. But you're talking about more silly kind of stuff. Yeah, I've tried a few of those silly things. And people might personally message me and say, oh, that made me just laugh so much, and you're just showing more and more of who you are. I don't know, the older I get, the less I care about that because people are going to judge us no matter what we do. And so I know this is a very corny phrase, but, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And I think that, your uniqueness is your key. Give it a go, Deanna, have a play with it. Have a bit of fun. Poke the bear. Why not?
Thank you.
The other one that I've got there is educate. And what I mean by this is educate your audience about how you can help them. Now, if you're particularly new in the game, you're a starter, or this is your first time as an entrepreneur, this is really important and people avoid it as first timers. But you can pretty much bet your life that there's someone that is serving a niche similar to you that you can repost that post and go, Lara wrote this thing here that just absolutely resonated with me. Take a read. So you can repost and borrow other people's knowledge. I read a post on LinkedIn. Actually, it was an article, and that's a differentiation. I think it's 488 words. When you exceed that on LinkedIn, it becomes an article. And then, excuse me, that's what I love about LinkedIn as well. They say, this needs to go as an article. And then they show you how to do it, which is lovely. But I read this article this woman wrote. She lives in South Africa, businesswoman, smart woman, smart as smart. And I was so compelled by this article. It was speaking to me. So I wrote her a note and I said, I think her name's Madeline. Yes, Madeline. Madeline, what a post. I love this. Well, when Madeline woke up in that part of the world, she was absolutely thrilled that I'd taken the time. And it wasn't, I wrote something on the post, the comments. I know this is digressing from what you're asking, but but I also wrote a personal note. Do you know what happened the next day? Anyone guess? Sorry, you're muted, Lara.
Did she respond and say hello?
No, she picked up one of my posts and reposted it.
Nice.
Now, that wasn't my intent. I've actually saved that article. I'm going to read it again. It had so much juice in it. I loved it, and it spoke to me. It spoke to me. And then the next thing, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And that's actually, without saying another word, that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're here. We're to connect. We're here to connect with people and give value. Do we want to sell our products and goods? Of course we do. Do we want to make money? Of course we do. But we must connect first and we must give value first. It's the guts of it all. So engage, entertain, inspire, educate. So let's just have a little play. I'm looking at the time here. Write down one thing that you could do to inspire your audience. Just write it down on that piece of paper you got in front of you. One thing that you could do to inspire your audience. And don't be too fussy about it. Don't overthink it. Just write it down. You can't get this wrong, by the way. And if you've done that one very quickly, you could write one for how could you get your audience to engage with you? Share a client testimonial, yes. Nadia, did you have a question before and I missed it? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry because I came late, but I have two questions. Like I get a lot of engagement with my personal posts, but I don't have I don't feel that I have a specific kind of order of what it is that I want to tell people. Like when I want to educate, I don't have like a specific plan for that, and I have tried to create it, but I don't feel that is consistent, so I feel that I'm jumping from one thing to another, even though people are engaging. It's like I'm not really selling anything because I'm just talking about my life, and great, people love it, but there is no substance there. And the other question I had is this: what you're talking about, is this your business Facebook business page, or is it your personal business page? I'm not really or your personal profile. I'm not on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, but not posting. Yes.
You're not on Facebook, is that what you're saying?
I'm on Facebook. I have a business page and I have a personal page, but it's not usually. I only get engagement from my personal profile. My business page, I can post thousands of things, and it's like nobody says anything. And
no, that's
it's
right.
kind of weird.
Well, I think you're voicing an opinion that I'm hearing a lot lately, and I don't have a business page on Facebook. I did, and then I got earlier part of the call. I was saying that several years ago, Facebook came along and just shut my ads down, and so I've had 3 profiles now, and I've from time to time engaged a Facebook expert, and so go to different webinars and things to keep up to speed, because my goodness, you need to have one of those, motorized bikes to keep up. But my personal page, is way better than any business page. And there is a consensus recently that it's really a bit of a waste having a business page on Facebook. And what you've just said demonstrates that beautifully, doesn't it? And I think I had to think about whether I was going to say this or not. I think gone are the days that anything's ever personal anyway. Privacy's out the window. We've pretty well lost control over just about anything in our lives, and don't be fooled, they know everything about us. Don't think we're in the free world, because we're not. And that's why I guess there's more people closing their profiles. They want it just for their family and friends. And that's a good thing if that's what they want. But if you have a personal profile, maybe it's worth considering just doing everything on that. But without really knowing what you do and who you are, just be mindful. I'm saying that because I have seen how powerfully it can work for me. And even when I lost my other profile, it was a very this is subjective, clearly, but it was a good profile, had loads of engagement. I've been able to kick on to another profile. So that tells me if you have a personal profile and you make a professional dashboard, I'm talking about Facebook, by the way. If you're a LinkedIn person, it's okay. We can talk about that as well. But Facebook, personal profile, professional dashboard doesn't cost you anything, may actually give you more bang for your buck. It's a bit long-winded, wasn't it? And what was the first question again?
It was a little bit of how do I plan, like how do I make an intentional plan of what it is that I want to educate people on?
Oh, yeah, good
Because I
question.
have made some plans, but it's like they're not consistent. It's like every time I go back into my personal life and whatever, and I kind of get lost. So what would
What is it
be
you
your
do, Cuddy?
recommendation?
What do you do? What's your business?
I help people relax. Women, business, busy women.
Relax, meditate, that sort of thing.
It's more, I mean, meditation, breathing, visualization.
Okay. So what I would write about, and like I say, I'm just going on what you've told me.
Yeah.
I would plan on, a week of tips to relax. The next week could be tips on meditation. The next week could be the value of breathing. The next week could be how to minimize stress. Daryl will catch up. Oh, he's gone. I think that even if you start with that plan, oh, I thought I'd lost you. No, you just jumped over there. I think the key to what you're saying, Claudia, is consistency. Even if you did 2 posts a week, every week for the next month, that's consistency. You don't need 20 posts every week to be consistent. You just need to be doing the same thing every week. Is that helpful? Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Any other questions before I move on? You're doing so well to still be here. Good for you. Lovely. And if you're listening to the recording, be sure to pause it and write answers to some of my questions. That'll be key in maximizing what you get here. Okay. So here's some questions for you. Excuse me. Where are you going to put your focus now? Where are you going to put your focus? Get that lens happening. You're going to take one step at a time. That's key. One step at a time. You are going to decide what is urgent and what's important. It's really, really important to decide that. Stop having these massive big lists. I think that's on my next slide. Just do what you can do. One of the biggest beat ups that I see people doing is making these massive lists and get to the end of the day and then beat themselves up because they didn't achieve them. Stop it. Be kind to yourself. We're not here to beat ourselves up. So that urgent and important is probably something that you're going to be doing every day. You're going to be deciding what's important, what's urgent. Get to and do the urgent things. The important, you might be able to move to the next day. Plan your week. Get your calendar organized. It doesn't matter what sort of calendar it is. There's lots out there. You can be discerning. Gosh, I've really got a hold of that word today. You can have a Google calendar. You can have an Outlook. There's a whole lot of different calendars. The key here is just get a damn calendar and make it work. Get it on your phone, get it on your desktop, make sure they talk to each other, make sure you've got the ability to have notifications. And then, one of the things about setting up a calendar that I've found very helpful is when you start doing it, sometimes you've got to do it retrospectively. So when you get to the next week, you can see what's required in that calendar. So if you're new to calendars, write what you did yesterday, today, so you can keep track of how you're doing things. Let me just in my one of my coaching groups at the moment, we're doing the year that was, and people have got the opportunity to do a presentation or anything really, slideshow, whatever they like. But some people are a bit stuck about what to do and all of that. And I say, well, have you got a calendar? Oh, that's a point. Because you've probably got all that information from this year on that calendar. All you got to go is, Clara, I love that. You that hit the nail right then. And that's how I do my year that was. I can just go through my calendar, pick out significant events, write a slide about it, go to the next month. It's simple, but it's only simple when you know how, isn't it? There's no point at the end of the year someone tells you this, like Mary says, well, so get yourself a calendar. I love my calendar. It keeps me honest, keeps me on the straight and narrow. And if I have an appointment with a chiropractor or something, they say, "Oh, do you want to make another appointment?" I say, "Just a minute," and they still offer. Would you like me to write it on a card? No, no, no. It takes me a bit longer, but I put the event straight away in my calendar and my time's allocated, so I don't then not go and look after myself. It's another really good reason to have a calendar. Any questions about calendars? Clear as mud? Beautiful. Okay. Here we go. Here's this. What makes your heart sing? Work on it. Play with it. Be it. Do it. You must do what your heart sings. You must wake up every day and decide what makes your heart sing and do it. Whether it's personally or professionally, that's your job. Take care of you. Be kind. And outsource if you need to. Oh, no, but I don't have the funds. You'd be amazed how creative you can be when you need to be to make things happen for you. One of my clients the other day said, oh, guess what? I've got a virtual assistant. And I said, oh, that's pretty exciting. I didn't think that was on the agenda, for the money. She said, oh, no, it's one of my friends who's retired and was so excited when I asked her. So this is what it's about, being really resourceful. She said, oh, she loves doing this kind of stuff. I'm like, right, problem solved. So outsourcing doesn't always equate to, oh, more dollars. It actually means get creative. You've got friends that can help. You've got a circle of influence that will help. And, I don't know everyone here on this call, but I'm pretty certain if you're on this call and you've been attracted to working with me, you've got a kind heart. So someone will know someone. Don't be afraid. And the last thing I've got on this slide is laugh a lot. Have a giggle. I gave you an example about my dogs in the water. They're very quiet, incidentally. They were carrying on before, and I was worried that you'd all hear it. Something exciting must have gone past the house. But, just have a giggle, have a laugh. It makes you feel better. I've spoken a little bit about Sharon, my laughter yoga lady, but she used to do everything face to face when she first met me a couple of years ago. And now her whole world is so different. She does a lot of online stuff. is, like I said, a world authority on laughter yoga, and her life is so much more exciting with the online, and she still does face to face, but that's been one of the biggest differences for her working with me, is being able to transition into that. And a lot of people that come into my group, yes, just lacking a bit of confidence or strategy. It's another thing I'm good at. And then they learn to strategize, there's that word, themselves about their business. And that's very powerful. Got one last slide, and thanks for hanging in, everyone. It's very good. You've done yourself proud. So we're going on again with your focus. Get yourself an up-to-date cheer squad. Excuse me. Only look at 3 to 5 tasks a day. Now, that's just not me saying that. That's pretty well what's out there. I teeter around 1 to 2, 3, but I have a busy calendar. I've got smarter with this over the years. I certainly don't have big lists. I have a client, I'll just tell you the story. It's such a great story, that I've worked with for several years, who's an equestrian person and is pursuing the Olympics. And she wanted to transport her horse from Australia to Europe to get some training with the best people in Europe to become an Olympian. And she's no spring chicken. And I said to her one day, Jackie, how's the list looking? Oh, she said it's ridiculous. And she lifted her book up and she had like 25 things on the list. I said, whoa, let's stop. No, but they're all important. How do you take a horse, put it on a plane and yourself and move yourself to Europe? Big deal, right? Who agrees this is a big deal? And some of our early work was just learning to do the little steps at a time. Since those days, she's well positioned. She's moved from Germany with 2 horses to the UK, and the group is such a great support for her and getting closer and closer to her dream. So it works, just you can have a big, I think we used to call it the project list and the day-to-day list. So we worked with how to make the most out of the list. Because yes, everything needs to be done. Who agrees that? Yeah, everything needs to be done. It doesn't need to be done now, it just needs to be done. Okay. And I've already addressed some of this. Treat your banner like a website. It's a waste of real estate. And I'm going to reiterate what I said before. So many people spend thousands on a website. No one sees it. You've got to learn to send traffic there, but a banner everyone can see. Thousands upon thousands if you so desire. So put your energy into it. Make sure you show people how you help them. And it's one thing to tell people how great you are. Mostly they're not interested. But what they are interested in is how you can help them. So get your banner with a bit of, love and liveness about it. Now, if you're a bit low on confidence or you've got that inner critic playing out, write a list. What you're good at. Put it on the office wall. Oh, yeah, it's more of the, no, I'm going to do that digital. Well, that's fine. Then put it on your desktop. Marlene.
I just have a question.
Sure.
With the banner, how often do you think you should change it round?
Look, I changed.
I had mine up, one of them up for
Yep.
umpteen years because I
Yep.
loved it and it just said everything. But then I thought, no, we were talking and we decided, yes, it needed to be changed. But
Yep.
now I'm just wondering how often do we need to change it?
I think that's an excellent question. Thank you for the question. See, there's a few people nodding as well. Look, I think every 3 months or so. What I particularly do in Facebook, and if you've been connected with me for a while on my new profile, you'll see this actually happening. If I've got an event like my boot camp that I ran just a couple of weeks ago, I put that on my banner. I showcase my event because I believe in my banner. When that boot camp ended, I went back and I think we teetered with it, but changed it a little bit. A new banner. So my banner at the moment's been up maybe 2 weeks. But I think have a look at it. And the most important thing to say is that banner still a reflection of who I am? Does that banner excite me? If it doesn't, no, time to change it. Oh, hello. There you go. I can see a gentleman. Lovely to see your face. So I think if it's exciting and it excites your audience, they want to engage. If it's not exciting you, do you think it's going to excite your audience? No way. So great question. Lovely. The key here is get into action. Get into action. Now, I said this earlier in the workshop. When you learn things and you participate like here, and if you're listening to the recording, this applies to you as well. When you learn it, you must then go and action it. That was the last item on that slide. When you action it, you integrate it. It becomes part of how you work and who you are. There's such a lot of seducing goes on with free workshops. People are going to free workshops. They're just skipping around, playing in this one and that one. They're not taking themselves seriously. If you take the time, because time is so important, you've given up 2 hours today. Don't squander it. Take some action. Just have some fun with everything that you've learnt. It'll pay you in just in so many ways. Monetary maybe, but help you thrive, help you flourish, and that's what's important. Now, if you've found any value here today and you are looking to point your business in a new direction or really focus on your life and your business, Steph's going to drop my link to book a call. I have a very busy calendar. What I have done is I have taken today. Now, today's Saturday in my part of the world. So if you wake up and you watch this recording, I've also taken tomorrow out of my calendar just for this group to book a call with me to explore how to point your business in the right direction and your life for that matter. Do yourself a favor. Steph will put the link in there. You've just got to simply click on it. There's a lot of open spots for these next 2 days, and this is when you must take action. This is part of what I've been teaching. Take action for yourself and your business. We are going to finish in 2 minutes. Anyone want to share just one word of a takeaway? Oh, Marlene, have you got another question?
Yeah, sorry. No, all I was going to say is,
Yep.
and I say this correctly, Mary,
Okay.
is that if you're sitting, this is me personally, because I've been with Mary for about 2 years, 18 months, and I just think if you're sitting on the fence and going ho ha ho hum like I was, and I believe, as Mary said, just take the leap and do it because it can only help you. I've been with my business, Nutrimetics, for 30 years and I love it, but I was a bit ho hum with it. I'd go with it and then I'd stop. But since being with Mary, I have found that it has given me more direction and it's given me more belief within myself. Yes, for sure, I can do more, but and that's up to me. Mary's been fantastic the whole way through. So if that's a help, truly, I'm a strong believer. If you, don't think about it, just do it because you can't lose from it. She's
Thank you
just
so much. And I will add, because I think this is really relevant, that Marlene's kicked some really massive financial goals in the last 3 months, bigger than she's done in a long time. And that's what it's about. It's about moving the needle. And so congratulations to you, Marlene. That was totally unsolicited from me. I appreciate your generosity.
No, that's right.
Uh,
I just,
I'm sorry. Have you finished?
yeah, no, I just felt I needed to say that because I
Lovely.
can't write testimonials very well because I'm always hesitant. So I thought, no, Marlene, let's just out there.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
That's
So
lovely.
thanks.
You are so welcome. You're a delight, Marlene. So just a couple of words, the takeaways today. It's good to mention them because it helps integrate the information and helps you also action the information. Any one game. We're right on the hour. Lara, of course,
I
go
just want
ahead.
to say thank you for being a beautiful advocate for the power of group work and not having to struggle on your own and do things on your own, because I've been doing that for a long time. And I can say the most fun, but also progression I've made has been when it's inside of doing group work. So thank you for being a real advocate and a supporter of that. Love your work, Mary. And thank you for
Lara,
today.
thank you so much for being today. That's a lovely takeaway. Anyone else? I am going to finish, so jump in, don't hesitate. Unmute, talk to me. Any other takeaways you want to share? Too shy? Put them in the chat then if you're too shy. What is one word, just one word for your takeaways? Slam them into the chat before we leave. Consistency, yes. Good point, Claudia. Yep, lovely. Anyone else? Deanna, did you want to speak? You're unmuted.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Yes, I think I just had a review of my LinkedIn because I've been doing a lot of work on it, but I didn't realize you could do more in the headline there, Mary. So I've just updated my headline, which is great. Yeah, I think again, just consistency. I've been posting every day on LinkedIn for just, I think, probably 10 days, and the impressions have just gone really through the roof. So that's sort of showing up. And for me as well, I think it's that authenticity that I said at the beginning, like, how I felt I was trying to show up on Facebook to meet Facebook's requirements was inauthentic. Like, it was telling me my videos were too professional, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I'm in the wrong place. So obviously I changed platforms, but yeah, I just feel more authentic on LinkedIn. So I think, yeah, just being able to show up consistently and be authentic, I think is really important. So thank you.
Here to you, Deanna. And today I've really just done the tip of the iceberg. There's way more to this workshop could go on all day. I promise it won't. We're going to finish. And I think all platforms are valuable if they're valuable to you and your audience. And I see inspire, group work, consistency, adding value. Doesn't have to be hard, absolutely. My goodness, that is true. So let's finish off now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you, Steph, for being there and keeping everything running smoothly. Be sure to book a call. I've only got today and Sunday available. Book in so we can help send your business into 2026 with purpose and deep passion. There's the link again if you want to grab it, and the recording will be sent later today. Have a gorgeous rest of your day. Simona, go to bed, darling. And everyone else have a lovely, gorgeous rest of your day. Thanks so much for your participation.